What happens when you put a bunch of really well-priced, really pretty babies, Bredli pythons up for sale on Morph Market and your website for good prices? They go real quick, and then you run out way faster than you expected. And that's what happened the other day. And here we are. Thank you. Let's dive right in. So yeah, I listed a few of these beautiful babies on my website and on Morph Market, and in 48 hours, not only were all those 4 sold, but the remaining animals that were established or 1 or 2 meals away from being established are now all spoken for, like that. I woke up and I had an order list that went from 1 page onto the next. It was a lot. And I was trying to juggle all that while going to a concert. So a lot of fun. Thank you to everyone who's super flexible and patient with me, getting back to you overnight, the next morning, yada, yada, so on and so forth. Got a lot of beautiful babies that are going to be going out to some new homes soon. So yeah, now I'm not entirely sold out of baby Bredlis. Like every season, there's always a few stragglers. There are 6 babies that are figuring it out still, that I don't have names attached to, not spoken for as of this recording, but that's probably going to change very soon. Got a lot of people inquiring, and those babies are figuring it out. And believe it or not, the ones that didn't want to take frozen thawed right away, I've tried like live, frozen thawed, fuzzies, rats, mice, big, small, you name it. Nothing seemed to work until I drop a live hopper in there, which seems like a big meal, and boom, all of them smashed it. The only one who didn't, ooh, excuse you. The only one who didn't was the little female in shed. So it was really neat. Basically, that means we're getting them going. So very soon, all of those baby Bredlis should be ready to go, and that means very shortly we will be sold out. But let's see. A few should make it to Scottsdale. This one's already spoken for. Naughty, naughty. Be nice. You're a friendly little guy. Yeah. Pretty sweet. I also had 2 more little baby Strophorus hatch out. They're super small. These guys are only like a day old at this recording, but they're gonna grow quite a bit. Cute little guys. That now puts me at 6 hatchlings right now. This little one right here is a sibling to those fresh babies. The difference is this one's about a month and a half old, considerably larger, eating good crickets, calcium. This one's actually looking female. This one is one of the 2 that's available, listed on my website. Starting to get a little more confident. It was pretty nervous about me picking it up out here. The adults are much more confident, but as you can handle these guys. Come here, little one. Here, I gotcha. I know, the world is big and scary. So handle with care when they're babies. Adults you can definitely scoop up, no problem, but we got 2 listed for sale. The other 2 that hatched a few weeks behind this 2, excuse me, behind this one and its sibling that hatched out, because they do 2 eggs at a time. There were these 2 that hatched, and then 3 weeks later 2 more hatched, and then obviously the other day we had those fresh babies hatched. So that means I have 4 babies that are old enough and established to go. And once those newbies get a little more size and time to them, they'll be ready. And believe it or not, I still have more eggs incubating, even as we're getting right into the cool down. So that incubator is running all year, it seems. So message me, comment if you want any of these little Strophoris. They're awesome little baby geckos, super fun. They do need heat, they do need UVB, they need, you know, calcium, D3 and all that, but it's not hard to do. It's worth it for these guys too. So for those who have never seen my enclosure or how I keep these guys or seen any of the videos I talk about them, I'll show you. It needs to be cleaned and these plants are not doing too well. But yeah, heat, UV, I mist them pretty regularly. Give them a little nest box there, water, and in a few weeks time when we're cycling all the pythons down, that heat bulb's going to go off and they're just going to be ambient for about 2 months. They'll get considerably less food and water and they'll chill out. They'll probably be done laying eggs before then if they're not already. And then they'll come back up when everybody else does, feed them up, start warming them, watering them and all that good stuff. And then they'll start dumping eggs in here again in spring. So this gravy train just doesn't seem to stop. We got babies available, more coming, and we're just tapping into season 2. So now let me show you how I keep the babies. So I'm gonna start by saying the only reason I keep the babies like this is because I already had this tank. I've seen other keepers utilize like the 32-ounce tall deli cups with the lids that have mesh like this to allow UV and stuff to go through and it's not going to melt from the heat. And they'll kind of have like a collection of those cups under suspended heat and UV, so everybody does get the same access to it regardless of how many, you know, little cups they set up. But anyway, I'm only producing enough where this sort of 3-section tank works perfectly. So the older babies are in here. They're hiding out. You can see one on the edge of that log back there, and then you can see one on the top. That's one we were just looking at. So he or she is still out and available and visible. And then the ones that are a few weeks younger, hanging out back here, I would venture to guess they're on the back of that cork back there, that piece of wood. And then the little babies that we first looked at, there's one right there. There's the little 24-hour-old guys. And I'm able to keep them all by their hatching group. So it works out. I haven't held any back yet, but I might this year. We'll see. But I've got more coming. So I'm going to bring them to the Scottsdale show in a few weeks. They are listed on sale for sale online, these two. And then these two will be coming up for sale shortly. As you can see, I've got their hatch dates and everything marked. So they're about 3 weeks old or younger. So almost ready. In my opinion, these Strophoris geckos, not just the Strophoris tenicata, but even the other ones, the Ciliaris, the Williams eye, all these different types of Strophoris, go check them out. They're not as well known as they should be, but they're very hardy. They like warm temperatures. And if you're like me and you want a fun side project for all your pythons and your other stuff, they actually do just fine in a warm snake room. It works really well with the way I cycle everything in here. I essentially keep them at the same temperature, climate, and seasonal shifting parameters as I do my pythons. So it actually works out perfectly. You just have to pay attention to a different sort of routine, you know, making sure their UV light is always good. Depending on you're doing bulbs or LEDs, you got to maintain that good output. Make sure they have heat gradient, thermal gradient, water, feeding regularly. You're using calcium on those bugs. And you just gotta kind of pay attention to a few different details as you would snake keeping, but ultimately it's a fun little side project to have in the snake room. And I'm so glad I took the chance and got into them a few years ago. This season is the first season that my colony of adults has been producing, and it's been a fantastic first season. And I'm really looking forward to more to come. I'm having a great time. I don't find them too difficult to keep, and I think more people should explore this species because they'd love them. The adults are handleable. You know, I'm not going to run around with a gecko for hours or anything, but like if you need to relocate them around the enclosure, they're pretty fine with that. Yeah, they're really chill. They're really chill geckos. So take a look. Go explore the Stropherus genus. All right, so here's one of the baby Bredlis that's been eating really well. You can kind of get a size reference with my fingers in frame here for thickness. And that might give you an idea, like, okay, this animal can easily eat fuzzies. You know, a hopper would be a really big meal, but fuzzies have been perfect for this snake in particular, and a lot of her clutch mates, frozen thawed fuzzies. Perfect size, leaves a nice big bump, and honestly, only a few more and she'll be ready for hoppers for sure. But let me show you one of the babies that wasn't eating for the longest time and decided to just start on a big old live hopper, because the belly bulge is profound. Would you look at that? I mean, that just looks uncomfortable. And yet, I dropped that hopper in, she stuck her head out of the hide, tongue flicking. It was very obvious the instincts were firing. She grabbed it in 10 seconds flat, wrapped it up, and down the hatch. So these things like to beast out on some big meals. Nice to see her finally eating, making a mess of things. So with any luck, we'll let those babies rest, repeat the feeding again next week and a few more times, and then those last few stragglers, they will eventually go up on the website, Morph Market, whatever, and there will be more available. But it's going to be cutting it real close because we are coming up a few weeks away from the holiday shipping sort of craziness where it's just safer to not ship live animals, and cold weather sort of cuts things off. So I'll be getting them as ready as I can before that, if they are. Otherwise, they'll be available probably at the January Pomona show or come spring once things get better for shipping. But yeah, it's been a good learning process. Second season producing baby Bredlis, and this time it's going really well. I wanted to show off this hypo stripe girl who's looking really primed for this breeding season. This animal is produced by Lucas Lee of Centralia Exotics. She's getting ready for the cool down coming up soon. She's put on a lot of size. Really excited to see if I can have lightning strike again with different animals. But very cool to look at. When I see her like this, it gets me really excited. Nice and thick, lots of fat stores, really primed and ready to go. All right, and I haven't shared this guy since I did that video with all the Bredlis outside, but this is the other hypo stripe. This is also from Lucas Lee. This is a male, of course, much smaller, pretty much the same age as that one we were just looking at. And I've been feeding him quite a bit lately. He's been putting on some good size. He's got amazing markings. He's very stunning, sweet, gentle guy, and he's got his work cut out for him this season. So I am aiming for 3 pairs of Bredlis pythons. We're doing our normal Lazic line, animals that completely flew off the shelf this year, again. And we're going to do a pair of hypo stripes as we've seen. And then I have a male het stonewash from Owen McIntyre and a female low expression stonewash possible het stripe from Alan Stevens of Origins Reptiles. So I've got a good spread there, and we're gonna try those 3 pairs. And in addition to that, this boy is going to maybe step outside of his species a little bit for one pair if he's got it in him. I'm not going to say what that is. That's a little special project that I'm starting to embark upon, but I'm sure some of you who are in the know can put 2 and 2 together and figure that out. But yeah, really excited for making more baby Bredlis, even though they hatch late in the year and they cut it real close to the end of shipping window with weather and holiday madness. So, oh well, that just means I get to enjoy the babies longer. So on that note, I'm going to get on out of here, give my sponsors some love. Reptile Husbandry Designs. Use code RR10 at checkout to save you 10% off 3D printed perches, hides, all that sort of good stuff. If you're doing any shipping at all before the weather closes out, use Reptiles Express, and code Riley50 will get you 50% off up to 10 labels per customer. and you'll start saving some money. The more you spend with them on shipping, the better your price break gets. So save some money, use those discount codes, and then with the money you save, you'll get yourself a USARK Florida and USARK membership, because if you aren't a member, it helps to have strength in numbers. As you know, they're the only lobbying body of folks working to keep unjust and sort of unfair reptile legislation from being snuck in on the books nationwide. They do a fantastic job. They support our hobby, and the least we can do is support them back. So let's go show them some support. And speaking of support, if you like what we got going on here, want to join the community, get Discord access, discounts on animals, discounts on merch and things over at my spring store, all sorts of cool stuff, access to me behind the scenes, all this sort of good stuff ahead of time. Yeah, come join the Patreon. Just Riley Jimison on patreon.com. It's a hoot. We have a good time. A lot of good people over there. So, all right. See you guys on the next one. Hope you don't mind me injecting more geckos in here and there. They're part of the life, so it's happening whether you like it or not. But I'm keeping the carpet focused. That's never going to change. So, all right, my people. Hasta luego.